They say once, before the crimson moon ever rose, the queen had loved a man of light, a warrior who swore to return from war. But he never did. In her grief, she sought the mirror of eternity, a relic said to show the souls of the lost. And when she looked into it, she saw him, standing in the shadows, smiling, silent, and waiting. From that night, her laughter died, and her eyes forgot the sun. From that night, the mirror no longer showed her face, only his. The warrior she once loved spoke from the shadows, calling her name with a voice made of wind and sorrow. "Join me," he whispered, "and you will never be alone again." The queen, blinded by longing, touched the mirror, and in that single touch her soul was bound. They say her body fell lifeless, but her reflection still smiles beneath the moon that never dies. From that night, the mirror no longer showed her face, only his. The warrior she once loved spoke from the shadows, calling her name with a voice made of wind and sorrow. "Join me," he whispered, "and you will never be alone again." The queen, blinded by longing, touched the mirror, and in that single touch her soul was bound. They say her body fell lifeless, but her reflection still smiles beneath the moon that never dies. Years passed, yet the queen's voice never faded. On silent nights, when the moon turned crimson, people swore they could hear her whisper from the royal halls, soft, sorrowful, calling his name again and again. Those who dared to enter the castle after midnight said they saw her reflection in every mirror, smiling, waiting, weeping. They called her the Eternal Queen, the one who traded her soul for love and lost both. After the queen vanished, the kingdom fell into silence. Crops withered, rivers dried, and the moon's white turned crimson forever. The people whispered that the moon was her curse, her eternal heart still burning in the sky. Every full moon, her voice returned with the wind, calling the name of the man she could never forget. And when the crimson light touched the castle, shadows began to move again as if she had come home. One night, when the moon burned red above the castle, a group of villagers dared to enter its gates. They said they heard laughter echoing through the empty halls, soft and broken. In the grand chamber, the mirror still stood, tall and cracked, and within it a faint figure moved. Her reflection smiled, though no one was there. Then the door slammed shut behind them, and the wind whispered, "You shouldn't have come." They say the mirror was a gift from her lost lover, a knight who never returned from war. Before he left, he swore his soul would live within the glass, so she would never be alone. After his death, she spent every night before it, whispering his name until her voice faded into silence. Now, when the moonlight touches the mirror, you can see two shadows, hers and his, forever trapped between love and death. They say love is a blessing, but for her, it became a curse. The night she begged the mirror to bring him back, the heavens trembled. Lightning struck the castle, and the mirror bled light like a wound. From that moment, her eyes turned pale, her voice grew cold, and the kingdom fell into silence. Some say she traded her soul for his, others say the mirror took them both. They say the curse did not end with the queen. The morning after the storm, the sun refused to rise. The castle stood still, cold, lifeless. Villagers whispered that time itself had stopped within those walls. The flowers turned to ash, the rivers froze, and the sky forgot its color. All that remained was silence and a single whisper that echoed through the ruins, "Has still here." They say on the 100th night after the curse, the mirror began to breathe. Its glass rippled like water, and from the reflection emerged his shadow, the man she once loved. He did not speak, yet his eyes burned with sorrow and memory. The queen's ghost reached out her trembling hand, and for a heartbeat, their worlds touched, love and death, bound together by the moon that never dies. The queen's ghost stood before the mirror once more, her voice trembling like a dying flame. She whispered his name into the silence, and the walls seemed to weep with her. The moon outside turned pale, as if mourning their love. Her tears fell to the floor, glowing faintly like fireflies. And then, with one last breath, she smiled, whispering, "If love is a curse, then let me be cursed forever." They say the moon still remembers her, the queen who loved beyond death. On nights of crimson glow, her shadow dances across the palace walls, and the air trembles with her laughter. Some say the moon itself was her soul, trapped between haven and sorrow, watching the world below. And when the wind is still, you can hear her whisper from the sky, "Love never dies, it only changes its form." They say a century later, the queen's crown was found buried beneath the ruins. The gold still gleamed, but its jewels had turned black as night. Those who touched it heard whispers her voice, soft and sorrowful, calling for the love she lost. The crown was taken to the royal treasury, but every guard who kept watch vanished before dawn. Some say the queen had returned, not for her throne, but for her heart. They say a prince was born beneath a blood moon, silent, cold, and with eyes like frozen stars. No one dared to speak of the mark upon his wrist, a symbol matching the lost queen's crown. As he grew, the palace mirrors began to whisper his name, and the same moon that watched the queen's fall now watched him too. Some say her soul had found a new vessel, the heir of her sorrow, the child of her curse. The blood moon rose again, red as sorrow, bright as fate. The prince stood before the ancient mirror, where the queen once whispered her forbidden love. In the glass, his reflection began to change. Her face appeared within his eyes, smiling through tears. "End it," the wind seemed to whisper. "Break the chain." And as the moonlight touched him, he closed his eyes, and the curse that haunted generations began to fade, one heartbeat, one tear, one final whisper at a time. When dawn finally broke, the mirror was gone, only the queen's crown lay upon the cold stone. The prince's heart no longer beat, but his eyes were peaceful, as if he had found her beyond the veil of time. They say when the moonlight touches the castle walls, two shadows appear, one of a queen, and one of a knight forever walking together. And the wind still carries her voice, whispering through eternity, "Love never dies, it only waits."